This is CBN NewsWatch.
Thanks for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Mark Martin. When the Supreme Court ruled this summer in favor of Colorado baker Jack Phillips for refusing to bake a gay wedding cake, many people believed his troubles were over. But as it's turned out, that's not the case. In fact, he's once again become a target. This time around, a transgender is demanding Phillips bake a cake celebrating his transition. Heather Sells has the story.
6 years ago, authorities went after Jack Phillips for refusing to bake a cake for a gay wedding. Now he's in trouble again, this time for refusing to make a cake celebrating a gender transition.
The Bible teaches that God made male and female, and I believe that we don't get to choose that, and we don't get to change that.
That's a politically incorrect belief these days. Regent University law professor Brad Jacob says it makes sense that Phillips is once again in hot water.
Phillips has become a target now. The lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender community in Colorado has focused on him. He's become kind of the poster boy of Christians who don't accept all the practices of the gay community. And so it's not particularly surprising that they're going after him again.
The Supreme Court's ruling helps put the target on Phillips' back by failing to address his claim that he has the right to obey his conscience. Instead, the justices blamed the Colorado Civil Rights Commission for showing hostility to his beliefs. And now that the commission is after him again, Phillips says that hostility is back too. But this time, he's going on the offensive.
The state is essentially empowering people who want to harass him to file these complaints and to essentially bring him down by continuing to harass him through these discrimination charges. And so we need the federal court to step in and say the state can't allow that.
Jacob says it's not clear that the commission is indeed targeting Phillips, although he believes it could have ignored the latest complaint.
The commission certainly could say, we've already gone after this guy once, let's drop it, let's leave him alone.
What's needed ultimately is for the high court to decide just how people of faith can draw the line when it comes to same-sex marriage, gender transition, and other social issues. Until then, believers faced a host of questions and uncertain consequences. Heather Sells, CBN News.
President Trump fears any statement he makes to special counsel Robert Mueller could put him in a perjury trap. In an interview with Reuters, the president said if his testimony contradicts former FBI Director James Comey's, the special counsel might choose to believe Comey. Speaking in the Oval Office, the president said, "It's my word against his, and he's best friends with Mueller, so Mueller might say, well, I believe Comey. And even if I'm telling the truth, that makes me a liar. That's no good." Mr. Trump said he hasn't decided if he'll answer the special counsel's questions. He also said he has the right to direct the investigation, but he's decided to stay out of it. President Trump says he won't make any concessions to Turkey to get detained American pastor Andrew Brunson out of the country. Trump told Reuters that he thought he had a deal with Turkey's President Erdogan when he helped to persuade Israel to release a Turkish citizen it had detained. The president said he expected Erdogan to let Brunson out of Turkey, calling the pastor, quote, a very innocent and wonderful man and great father and great Christian. But Turkey denies it ever agreed to set Brunson free in return. Here's a look at now at some of the other major headlines we're following in the CBN newsroom today. A Colorado man charged with the murder of his pregnant wife and 2 children has admitted to killing his wife, but says it was his wife who killed their daughters. Christopher Watts told investigators that his wife killed the children after learning he wanted a divorce. He said he acted in rage after witnessing the killings and strangled his wife to death. Watts will appear in court today facing 3 first-degree murder charges, among others. A Confederate statue at the University of North Carolina was knocked down Monday night during a rally by hundreds of protesters. Protesters saying the memorial known as Silent Sam is a symbol of racist heritage. Students, faculty, and alumni had repeatedly asked for it to be removed, but officials said state law prevented them from doing so. During the rally, a group surrounded the statue and pulled it down, kicking it and cheering. Microsoft announced today that Russian hackers are targeting conservative political groups and even the U.S. Senate ahead of the midterm elections. Microsoft says they created fake internet sites for the Hudson Institute and the International Republican Institute. Other pages mimicked the U.S. Senate. Clicking on the pages could have exposed users to surveillance and possible data theft. And for more on these and other stories, visit cbnnews.com. Since becoming First Lady, Melania Trump has focused on the prevention of cyberbullying. Her latest effort came at a Maryland summit where she talked about the destructive and harmful side of social media. White House correspondent Ben Kennedy brings us the details.
Odds are you've seen a child with one of these. We're talking about a cell phone. Millions of kids have their own. These days, it's more than a lifeline to the parent. It also gives kids instant access to the World Wide Web. Now that's where First Lady Melania Trump wants little ones to be good citizens.
I'm honored to open this important summit.
That summit brought various federal agencies and tech companies like Microsoft, Facebook, and Twitter together to help fight cyberbullying, an issue that hits close to home for the First Lady, who, as a mom, has made helping America's young people her mission.
Social media is an inevitable part of our children's daily lives. It can be used in many positive ways, but can also be destructive and harmful when used incorrectly.
That's where places like the DC Dream Center come in.
This is our dream wall, and this is where we have the children come in and write their dreams so that we can pray over them.
The Christian operation helps kids with many things, including safe online habits.
You want to treat people the way you want to be treated. You do not want to be negative. You don't want to pull them down. You don't want them to feel bad. Think about yourself. Put yourself in their place. You want to be loved. You want to be liked.
The First Lady warned of the destructive and harmful side of social media as critics call out President Trump's aggressive online habits used against his foes.
Let's face it, most children are more aware of the benefits and pitfalls of social media than some adults.
The First Lady encouraged tech and social media companies to provide more opportunities for kids to share their ideas, which could generate new ways to reach their peers. Ben Kennedy, CBN News, Washington.
New information from the Centers for Disease Control shows that opioid overdoses are at an all-time high. The study shows a 6.6% increase in overdoses since 2016. That means more people died from opioid drug overdose in 2017 than by guns or car crashes. States such as North Carolina, New Jersey, and Nebraska saw a 20% increase in overdoses, while other states like Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Vermont did report a decrease in opioid-related deaths. Medical researchers believe there may be a link between the dramatic rise of suicide and a growing phenomenon called polypharmacy. It's when people take several medications at the same time. Our medical correspondent Lori Johnson explains.
Over 200 prescription medications list depressive symptoms or suicidal thinking as possible side effects.
A new study in the Journal of the American Medical Association shows that nearly 4 out of 10 Americans who take at least one of these drugs experience more depression than people who don't take them. Depression risk increases with every additional drug taken. Psychiatrist Peter Breggin, author of Medication Madness, says the study points to the dark side of so-called wonder drugs.
Some drugs will do it more than others. Chantix, for example, which is used for allowing you to stop smoking, has a very high rate of violent feelings, suicidal feelings. Lariam, it's an antibiotic that's been associated with violence. Accutane, which is a drug that is used for acne, it's so much associated with suicidal behavior.
Breggin says too many doctors don't talk about possible side effects of the drugs they prescribe, and too many patients don't read the warning labels.
Any drug that is affecting your mind, your mood, your feelings has the potential to cause a disaster. Most of the school shooters have been on psychiatric drugs, and a great number of them were on psychiatric drugs at the time or shortly before they committed violence. And violence and suicide go together. Are you going to turn your rage out? Or are you going to turn your rage inward?
Patients are urged to talk to their doctor about the risks versus the benefits of all the medications they're taking, keeping in mind that stopping, starting, or changing the dose should only be done under a doctor's supervision. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
Coming up, it was an unexpected finding in Islamic jihadist camp right here in America, training children to launch attacks. Now the question is, are there more like it? We're going to have that story when we come back. Stay with us. When authorities raided a makeshift compound in the New Mexico desert earlier this month, they were searching for a missing boy. Instead, officials say they uncovered a jihadist camp training children to carry out attacks. As CBN national security correspondent Eric Rosales explains, they're concerned there could be more camps like it across America.
It's a frightening thought. Islamic training camps right here in our backyard. As we reported, investigators suspected their existence for years. Now this latest discovery shows they may exist in larger numbers than expected.
There are so many people in the United States that espouse the jihadi extremist ideology who are doing either fundraising in the United States, training in the United States, to conduct attacks here in the homeland and abroad.
Former CIA operative Joseph Assad says extremists exploit laws in the United States, like religious freedom, creating sleeper cells, often operating off the grid until they're ready to strike.
In the CIA, we actually used to believe that it is by the grace of God and good work by our partners in the FBI that we had stumbled upon things such as the camp in New Mexico.
At that compound, police say Islamic extremist leaders trained children to become school shooters. Investigators found 11 emaciated children and the remains of a 3-year-old boy. An FBI agent testified they were told the 3-year-old died as part of a ritual to expel demons.
They told the kids, and they all seemed to genuinely believe that this boy would resurrect, come back as Jesus, and Jesus would tell them what targets to hit in terrorist attacks.
Ryan Morrow with the Clarion Project says it's no surprise these training camps exist in the U.S., but it is rare to get evidence for a raid. Morrow says one known as the Jamaat al-Fruco group claims to have 22 training camps across the country.
They haven't been cracked down upon because they're not going out and trying to kill people right now. They've done so in the past, but right now they're not. Why? Because when you build up an infrastructure that massive and you're making that millions of dollars and sending them over to Pakistan, why would you try to carry out a violent plot and risk losing everything?
Morrow says most people think of radical Islam as just an act of terrorism, getting virgins in paradise. But radical jihadist groups have beliefs about the end times of Islamic prophecy, where a war will take place between a Messiah figure and the Antichrist.
Most of them believe that that will be Israel, the West, someone from there. And when the Mahdi wages this war, he will win because Jesus will come to his side. The Muslim Jesus will show up, will break a cross, and prohibit Christianity.
Experts say the ultimate goal of radical Islam is not just to inflict terror by attacking our nation, but to inspire homegrown terrorists from within, committed by Americans against Americans. Eric Rosales, CBN News, Washington.
Coming up, a pastor in a church that's working to reach out to Muslims in an area with one of the highest Islamic populations in America. That story is up next, right after this. The city of Dearborn, Michigan recently made headlines after one of its residents was captured in Syria and accused of working for ISIS for 3 years. Dearborn has a large Muslim population, but that recent news doesn't reflect the good things that are happening there. I talked to one Christian pastor in the heart of Dearborn who says the call of God has his congregation right where it's supposed to be.
Dearborn is known for being home of the Ford Motor Company. It's also home to one of the largest Muslim populations in the country. Drive around town and it's like you're transported to the Middle East. Nearly half of Dearborn's population is Muslim. Out of the 90,000 residents, approximately 40,000 practice Islam. 80% are Shia Muslims, mainly from Lebanon and Iraq. 20% are Sunnis, mainly from Yemen.
That makes this area the largest concentration of Arab Shia Muslims in the United States. And that mosque behind us is actually a Shia mosque. It's definitely the largest Shia mosque in the United States.
It's known as the Islamic Center of America. John Koski views himself as a Christian missionary to Muslims here. He's also the associate pastor at Springwells Church, an Assembly of God congregation led by Pastor Trey Hancock and his wife Becky. The church sits less than 10 minutes away from the Islamic Center of America in the heart of a neighborhood that's 97% Muslim.
Jesus said, I want you here. So we're here. And I mean, what better place in the whole wide world, you know, to find people that don't know Jesus, that need him and need what Jesus has to offer. Right here, we're not making it hard for them to come to the Lord.
The church began meeting in the Hancock's home in 2000, more than a decade after the pastor and his family first arrived in Dearborn to minister to Muslims. Hancock says he heard the call of God while in Dearborn receiving cultural training.
And just walking and just praying, got down about right here at this very spot. And the Lord spoke to me and said, if you're going to learn about these people, you got to live with them. And I thought, whoa, that didn't come from me. I knew who that was. It was really clear, it was really distinct, and there was a prompting from the Holy Spirit. And I said, okay, Lord.
That step of faith has led to a thriving ministry. In addition to Sunday services, church outreach includes drama presentations, a wrestling club, and English as a second language classes, which include learning Bible verses in Arabic and English.
I think it's very effective because we're really building relationships. We're ministering to their felt needs, and one of the biggest needs is to learn English as a second language.
Koski and others like Paul Schindelbeck also take their ministry door to door.
You said this speaks of the truth of Jesus?
Yeah, it speaks about who Jesus was.
Who Jesus was?
Yeah.
Diane Berry serves through a Christian Taekwondo ministry. The former Muslim says Springwells is making a difference.
Is God. It's all God. It has to be. And the supernatural protection as well, you know, when you think about it. And we're welcomed here by most because it's a serving church.
Hancock is overjoyed when Muslims accept Jesus.
Lights my fire, man. When they say yes to Jesus, it's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing, especially after they get baptized, because that's when they're saying to the world, I belong to Jesus.
Although rewarding, ministering in Dearborn takes a lot of work. Koski says it takes 30 gospel presentations for the average Muslim to accept Christ. And that's not the only tough part. In ministering in this area, spiritual warfare is definitely involved. For example, Hancock says in the last decade, more than a dozen churches in the Dearborn area have been sold to Muslims and turned into mosques. Churches like this one, you can see it's now the American Muslim Center, and the cross has been removed from the steeple. On this other former church, an Islamic House of Wisdom sign has actually been placed over the cross on the steeple. Still, Hancock knows the Muslims who purchased the churches are not the enemy.
I'm not fighting, quote, them, because I want them to come to Jesus.
The pastor looks forward to the day he learns many Muslims have responded to the gospel message through his ministry.
I hope when I stand in front of the Lord that there's thousands standing behind me that I had no idea that were listening.
He believes there are more former Muslims in Dearborn who believe in Jesus than can say so because they're afraid of each other. And to the secret believer, he has a message.
Find somebody who knows Jesus. Let them know what you're dealing with, that you've said yes to the Lord. Even if you have questions, ask them to pray for you and allow Jesus to minister to you.
Amen to that. I'll tell you what, that church there is doing amazing work in Dearborn, Michigan. It was just wonderful to see how they would reach out to the Muslim community through love and just being there for those people. Just great things are happening in Dearborn. Well, thanks for staying with us. We'll be right back with more of CBN NewsWatch. Welcome back to CBN NewsWatch. CBN International is celebrating Vida Dura, its Spanish language program, after the host won a special award. Omar Murillo received Best Television Presenter at the Eagle Awards. The award ceremony honors outstanding achievement in Spanish Christian media. CBN's Vida Dura has been on air for 20 years, introducing original Spanish language testimonies from people throughout Latin America. People watch the program both daily and weekly in more than 15 countries. And to learn more about what CBN is doing around the world, visit cbn.com/international. And you can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care about most at cbnnews.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.